topic that struck me was on your Dennis Sperling Filter channel.
Right.
He said it's called "Don't Date Single Mothers, or you may be ordered to pay child support." I said, "Wow, this is interesting."
Yeah.
Because here in the manosphere spaces, there are many reasons why guys tell people not to date women with children, and it revolves around being a cleanup man type of archetype, or not being her first choice. But yours was your argument is based clearly on legality, right? Or purely on legality.
What that I saw on the internet a while, maybe last week. If you don't think women are thinking about this, let's read this post. Can you make a male babysitter pay child support? I'm a single mom going to college with my sister. We currently rent an apartment together. A couple of weeks ago, I asked my neighbor, a trustworthy guy, if he could watch the kids for 2 hours. Well, I went to class and my sister wasn't home and he agreed. If he babysits and doesn't accept pay, can I sue him for child support because he took on a fatherly role? I'm sure I can convince a court that he accepted the fatherly role. So basically what I'm saying is, if you're not careful, you can get caught up in a situation where you could have a judge, a woman sue you. Yes. And so the answer, her first question, can you sue him? Yes, you can sue him. Now, can you get a lawyer to sue him? That's going to be based on whether or not a lawyer feels like there's a good faith claim. But if you got that Oberfield Hodges case, and you couple that with the fact that you got this case out of Michigan, and I posted this up too, O'Shea, if you can allow it, because I want the people to see the language. This is what the court said in that November 2015 case. This court stated that given its recognition that a person who is not the biological father of a child may be considered a parent against his will.
Wow. Which
means even if you fuss and fight, hey, not my child. That's not my child. I don't want to be the parent. It's not that he even volunteered to say, I'm the daddy, call me daddy, No, not like the case in Stankovich case. They're referring to another case that happened back in 1996. Against this will, they made this guy be the dad. Consequently, they burden him with the responsibility of paying child support. Such a person being treated as a parent may also seek rights of custody or parenting. So basically they're saying, before, we can make somebody be the father against their will. That wasn't a problem. And we would burden them with child support. But it was kind of up in the air whether or not we would give this non-biological parent permission to spend time with this child. But now, since the equitable parent doctrine has been strengthened by the Oberfield Hodges case out of the Supreme Court of the United States, we'll go ahead and let them have parenting time too. So what does this mean for the average brother who's hanging out? What it means is, if she can get someone to write a letter or someone to come testify that, he took my child to school. He picked my child up from school. He paid for my child's clothing. He took my child to the doctor. He babysat. He took my child to a babysitter. To a baseball game, football game. He overall spent his time with my child. And heaven forbid, they call you daddy or stepdad, right? So now what have you done? You've basically given them enough facts to at least allege that you've taken on the fatherly role. So when you break up with your ex-girlfriend and you say, I'm done with you, you cheated on me, you broke the windows out of my car, I'm through with you, she can then go find a family law lawyer, present to him that fact pattern, and then what? And then you get sued because the lawyer says, well, I have a good faith belief this child, under the equitable parent doctrine, there's a good faith belief, there's a good claim here. Like maybe I'll lose, maybe I'll win. But guess what? Even defending that is going to cost you money. You're going to have to retain a lawyer to fight against that. That may be $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000, $10,000, and it goes up on an appeal. It can be astronomical. So you got to fight with a woman who and they know and everybody knows you haven't had a child with. You may not even have had a sexual relationship with the woman. That's how expansive this can go. So what I'm trying to warn you guys is this is the potential that's out there. I'm not saying it'll happen today. I'm not saying it'll happen tomorrow, but it's going to happen. The government is looking at it. The government is saying marriages rates are going down. We need somebody to take these out of wedlock birth rate is going up. We need somebody to help take care of these kids, because otherwise we're on the hook for taking care of these kids. We got to pay for medical. We got to pay for welfare. We got to do that. So why not get the closest man available to help pay for those kids? So if a woman can get you on the hook, man, she will. And I just thought it was interesting, man. And that's why I brought it up. And what they can do is they could say, look, Your Honor, the Supreme Court has strengthened the Supreme Court of the United States, which governs all of our cases here in the United States, in state court, federal court. That's the supreme authority. They have strengthened the equitable parent doctrine. And so, matter of fact, I'll have you take a look at this Stankley case, which is out of Michigan, and it's not binding authority in the state of Kentucky. But look at the rationale that they follow. And the rationale is sound. And we need to impose that here. It's in the best interest of the child to make sure that the person who took on that fatherly role for the past 2.5, 3, 4, 5 years maintains that role, because it's in the best interest. They took the role, so now they can't up and abandon it. They can maybe break up in the relationship with the mother, but not the child, Judge. And you'll get a judge. I'm telling you guys, there's a judge out there.
Oh, yeah.
That will say, well, this case, we're not going to dismiss it on summary judgment. We're going to let it go to trial. Everybody deserves their day in court. And you got to pay for that. And heaven forbid you say, I'm out of money. And your lawyer says, well, maybe you can settle. And then you end up paying child support for a child that's not yours. Or you go to a jury trial, you get a judgment, and it's either favorable or unfavorable, and it gets appealed. So now you're caught up in a situation where you're paying money. Imagine spending 7 years in your 20s or 30s while you're trying to build yourself up. Your money is going to pay for some case for child support for a kid that's not yours. Imagine how much of a drain that will be on you. You see? And that's why I'm just telling you, young men, older men, every man, just be aware. And here's the thing. They do it often in Canada. So it's not like it's foreign. Canada is where it's happening. Now, it'd be one thing if somebody said, well, that's up in Canada, that's not here. Then it's, what the heck are you talking about? Well, now it's landed in our backyard. It's a quick ride from Michigan to Ohio, and you can make your way to the rest of the states from there. And trust me, if they're doing it in Michigan, California, New York, and some of these other Democratic, more liberal, female-friendly states are going to take that mantle and go with it. 30% of men in the UK are paying for children that aren't theirs. And I would have
to say it again.
30% of men, and there was a study that came out that said 30% of men are paying for children that aren't theirs, biologically. And some know and some don't know. In this situation here in the United States, there are different scenarios where you can end up paying for a child that's not biologically yours already. There was a case out of Texas where a man, I believe he was in jail at the time. Well, actually, here's how it went. He was paying for a child. Money was coming out of his check every month. So the woman had said, this child is yours. They began to garnish his check. It was like $20, $30. He barely noticed it. And so the time period to fight against that had elapsed. I believe it was 2 years at the time. But nevertheless, he let 15, 20 years go by and he stopped paying it because he got a new job or whatever, and they couldn't find him. And so by the time she caught back up with him again, he was $60,000 in arrears. This child wasn't his child, period. DNA evidence had proved it. So that's but he still was forced to pay under the current state of the law. So this is not something that's that uncommon. People have to pay. People are sometimes forced to pay for children that aren't theirs, even if they know it's not theirs. So that's no safety. That's no umbrella to hide under, O'Shea. Watch your wallet, because whatever future you have, whatever you're trying to build yourself up to be, will be seriously jeopardized by a monthly child support payment. What happens if you go back on you get it in arrears on your child support, right? You lose your license, driver's license. I know you're on your way to medical school. You lose your medical license, your law license, your trucking license, so you can't work. This is and you're paying, and this is because of child support that you're paying for a child that's not yours. But generally speaking, in the Black community, I believe it's somewhere between 70 to 80% of children are being born out of wedlock.
Mm-hmm.
And so in a situation like that, you kind of, you date at your own peril. You date a woman, you have a bad relationship, you break up, but you created a relationship with that child. She has that option, you know, and it's not well known at this point, but she will have that option. And the question is, do you want your future and your fortune and your destiny in the hands of someone else, especially an ex-girlfriend? It's already bad enough to have a wife, an ex-wife. Now you got imagine if all your ex-girlfriends who had
my goodness. I know where you're going. Go ahead and say that.
Got together and put you on child support for all these kids that aren't yours.
I didn't even think about that.
The children that you hadn't even, hell, it's not even about ex-girlfriends. What if the neighbor's kid, who you spent a lot of time with, developed a fatherly relationship with you? And so now you got the neighbor's kid who said, I miss him. And his mom says, there's nothing I can do about it. Can you come visit? Well, no, I can't. I moved out of town. Well, I'm going to go ahead and put you on child support because you maintained a fatherly relationship with my son for the 5 or 6 years you were our neighbor. You taught him how to cut grass. You see what I'm saying, man?
Mm-hmm.